Another new Amazon fee for 2024. This time it is the returns processing fee, and this goes into place on June 1st, 2024. So we're going to be breaking down in this video what is this fee, what you can do about it, and really what it means if your business is getting hit by this fee. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, now as you can see here on the screen, I've got the returns processing fee up. So we're going to go through the actual policy, kind of discuss how this is going to work for your business and all the other businesses that sell on Amazon. But before we get into that, I want to let you know that I have a free 30-day training that will come to your email inbox each and every day for 30 days on how you can get started with your own Amazon business to grow and scale that into something that goes from a side hustle to a full-time income. All you have to do is go to askjimmysmith.com/free training. Now, within this returns processing fee, you can actually see that this does start June 1st, 2024. Now, what this fee is going to do is that if Amazon is getting too many returns on a particular product for the category that it's in, and they're going to start charging you as the seller a fee for having so many extra returns and what they deem as an appropriate amount. Now, let's go ahead and read this policy a little bit deeper. Really, here's what it says. A returns processing fee will go into effect for all products except apparel and shoes, which actually that's very fair that they didn't do clothing and shoes because they have such a high return rate anyway. I'm really glad that wasn't in here. Now, they're going to go into effect for all products with a high return rate by category to address the operational costs of returns and to reduce waste. The fee will only apply to products that have return rates above a threshold specific to each product's fee category. The fee applied per unit is based on the product size, tier, and shipping weight as per the rates shared below. Now, this return rate is going to be the percent of your product shipped units in a given month that's returned by customers over that month and the subsequent 2 calendar months. So they're going to be using your actual data for recent months history. And for a given month's shipped units, the returns processing fee will be charged for each returned unit above the category's return rate threshold. So for a particular month's returns, the return processing fee charge will be made between the 7th to the 15th day of the 3rd subsequent month. As is common with Amazon, they have to make this even more complicated with how they're going to charge it and all of these things. But essentially, they're going to come up with these return processing fees, and then you will get charged for a particular month's returns a couple months later, between the 7th and 15th day. That's when you're going to get charged with these fees. Now, if I actually scroll down all the way to the bottom of this, where we get into frequently asked questions, where it says, where can I see the charge details for returns processing fee for non-apparel and non-shoes items? It says, for a particular month's returns, you'll see this fee charged between the 7th and 15th day of the 3rd subsequent month. So for example, for units shipped in June that are returned and are subject to the fee will be charged between September 7th and the 15th. So it will be 3 months after the end of the month where you had any returns that applied to this returns processing fee. I know it's a little bit confusing, but if you're getting charged a fee in September, that means that this started in June, and this was the problem that they are now addressing from a few months prior. Anyway, that's how the fee will be charged. It will just be a few months after you go over these thresholds for any units over that particular amount. Now let's go ahead and get to examples of the returns processing fee. So for example, 1,000 units of a product were shipped to customers in June. In June, July, and August, 120 of the 1,000 units shipped were returned. The returns threshold for this example product category is 10%. Again, this is just an example. As a result, returns that exceed 100 units or 10% of the 1,000 that were shipped during the shipment month and subsequent 2 months will incur returns processing fees. So in this case, 120 units were returned, so 20 units would be charged the returns processing fee. The fee will be charged between September 7th to the 15th. Now it's confusing because each month there's going to be a new one. So if you sell products in June, then a few months later in September, you're going to get hit with those returns processing fees that happen between June and the end of August. And then in July, whatever you sold in July, you're going to get charged in October for anything that got returned from July, August, and September, and so on and so forth. And so that's how they're doing this. It's based off of how many units were ordered in that month, and then the percentage of the returns that happen for the next 3 months, and then you're going to get charged the fee basically 3.5 months after that month that you sold the items in anyway. So that's the essential basis of it. It is confusing. You may not need to really know how this particular works, but what you do care is going to be this information about the category. So we care about the category because each category has a different return rate threshold. Now, just so you know, my Replens business has an average of 2.9% returns across the board for every category that I sell in. I'm not exactly sure of each category individually and what each of them have for returns, but I do know that for the entirety of the business is about 2.8, 2.9% on average. Now, if we're looking at these and we're looking at the automotive category, they have a 9.1% rate threshold. If we're looking at baby products, a 9.3% threshold. Now, the lowest one I believe that I found, is the grocery and gourmet category is 2.9%. I believe that's in part because it's hard to return things anyway in the grocery category because Amazon doesn't allow many returns there. But ultimately, a 2.9% would be the lowest absolute return rate threshold, and that is for just grocery and gourmet. Everything else, for the most part, we've got 4% with office products, but everything else seems to be at 4 and up, 5 and up for sure, and just a few categories are under 5. And so depending on the categories that you sell in, it may be more of a problem than in others. But I do want to point out this one thing, that if we're looking at this and we're saying, oh no, another fee, really Amazon is setting this because this is for excessive returns. The thing that you should not be as worried about is the fee. What you should be more worried about is selling so many products that are getting returns in the above 11%, above 9%, above 4 or 5% category, because we want to make sure that the products that we're selling are matching the description of the listing, that they are in good condition whenever they get to the customer, and ultimately that you aren't getting very many returns. I think a healthy Amazon reselling business, arbitrage or wholesale, excluding shoes and apparel, would be at a 5% or less returns rate anyway. And so if you're getting anything over 5, which are the majority of these categories, then you most likely for that particular product are selling something that really shouldn't be sold anyway, because there's probably something wrong with the product or something wrong with the listing, something wrong with the way that it showed up, or maybe whoever packaged those items and sent them into Amazon. There could be something wrong in that process. And so this is more of an indicator of what you may need to look at and fix whenever you do get hit with this. I don't believe many people will be hit with these things unless they're selling products that are poor, that were put together and shipped improperly, or maybe the listing is just inaccurate and you didn't realize it whenever you sent in those items. So to me, this isn't a huge concern, although I know that there will be a concern and people will get it with the fees. They're going to freak out a little bit because everyone does whenever there's new fees, but this one doesn't worry me as much as some of the other fees that I've seen come out in 2024. Ultimately, here are the rates for how much it's going to cost whenever you do have a return processing fee applied based off the size of the particular product. And again, this should be excluding apparel and shoes over here. And so you can see here that if it is excluding apparel and shoes, it's going to be a higher fee because essentially you're getting charged that return rate penalty, versus with apparel and shoes, this is just the typical return processing fee. Okay, now we can see here there are examples if you'd like to see some of these based off size, based on how much if it will apply in your business. But these examples, if you want to go through them, feel free to. Again, if I were to see a returns processing fee hit in my account, I would be more concerned about the product that I'm selling than actually concerned about the fee. It does stink that Amazon's now taking more money from us for a return, but ultimately if it is a bad product and it's getting excess returns, then we probably shouldn't be selling it anyway. You can actually see the product's returns rates on the FBA returns page. It will be updated. It says 3 times a week, so it allows you to monitor your returns and return rates for given month's shipped units. They're giving us all that data. If you want to monitor it or have a virtual assistant monitor it, that will help you to be able to stay on top of any of these returns fees that you may be getting charged, or trying to stay on top of it before you get charged for these items, that you can see, oh wow, this one's starting to climb up. I need to make sure that I avoid sending in more of that product. I need to check and see what's going on with this product. This is more of an indicator, in my opinion, of what is going wrong on an ASIN versus an actual fee that Amazon's charging just because they want to take more money from us. Yes, they are doing that, but ultimately it is because these products are getting excess returns, and you need to be caring more about that problem in your business than about the actual fees that they're going to be charging. So hopefully this helped to shed some light on the returns processing fee. I know it's no fun to see another fee come through, and I know Amazon has added and changed a lot of new fees in 2024. To me, it's more of an indicator of a problem within your business versus an actual issue with the fee that Amazon is now applying, especially since they didn't apply this to clothing and shoes, which notoriously has a 10 to 15% return rate if you're doing well, and it could be 20 to 25% return rates if you're not doing as well in the clothing and shoes category. So I'm glad that they didn't include that one. Let me know your thoughts below. I know it's probably not going to be the best to have comments turned on for this video, but I do have them on, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this fee as well as some of the others. Do you think this is a big deal, or do you think ultimately this is more of just an indicator, as I mentioned, of some problem going on in your business that will alert you to actually look into this more and maybe no longer sell that product, maybe fix the listing, maybe to fix something in your prep and ship process so that you aren't getting more and more returns? What is it in your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. And as I mentioned earlier, I do have that free 30-day training. If you go to askjimmysmith.com/free training, you can sign up for that. You'll get an email a day for 30 days. Hope this video helps you and blesses you, and have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.